Hey everyone, this is Rajendran here. In this video, we're going to learn how to install OpenAlgo using the Docker method with a custom domain. So for that, first I'm going to go to the documentation, right? So from the documentation, you can go to which is like docs.openalgo.in. So from the docs.openalgo.in, I'm going to go to the getting started section. And from here, you can go to the Docker plus custom domain. So if you want to run locally, you have like a Docker development method, and Docker plus custom domain is what I'm going to go. And you need an Ubuntu server over here, which I had an Ubuntu server, which I am keeping it over here. I'm going to log into the Ubuntu server first of all. And along with that, I also going to map this custom domain, right? So with my Cloudflare. So first I'll copy the IP. This is a very first step. So first step, once you created the server and you get the IP address, copy the IP address, go to your Cloudflare. So in my case, I'll go to the Cloudflare, and then I'm going to create an A record for my subdomain. So that is what I'm going to do over here. So I'll go and select for time being, I'll go and select openalgo.in. I'm already having an existing A record, which I'm gonna rename it. So I'm already having a record called demo. So demo.openalgo.in. I'm gonna change the IP. In your case, you have to go and create a new one. So create a new record. Preferably, it's highly recommended you go with a Cloudflare for security purpose. So you can add a record, enter your custom domain name, which is like, let's say if I say demo, it's like demo.openalgo.in, and that you have to point it to the IPv4 address, right? So once this is done, right? So in my case, the mapping is done. Now it is time to go inside the server and then install the OpenAlgo. So I'm going to copy the IP address over here, and I need an command prompt. So here is a command prompt. I'm inside the VS Code terminal. I'm going to use SSH command, root @ let me go and paste the IP. That is going to ask me for the fingerprint. I'm going to type yes, right? And then it's going to ask me for a password. So let me copy the password and then paste it. And then that should be putting me inside the server. And once you are inside the server, now it is time to install OpenAlgo. So I'll go to the documentation of Docker plus custom domain. So I'm not going to go with the one-line installation. So first I'm going to run as a non-root user. That is the recommended one. I'm going to create a new user called OpenAlgo. I'm going to add the user to the sudo group. So first I'll copy the add user. I'll show you the step-by-step procedure, right? And probably this will be, this requires a pretty good password. So I'll go and generate some better password, right? So I'll say like, random password generator. I'll go and get some random password generator. So I'm going to copy this for time being, right? Enter and re-enter again. So that is going to be your password, which you have to remember it. So in my case, I'll be deleting the server once the demo is done, and I'll give a name, and then I'm going to give my room number. I'll skip, and then it's going to ask for like, is the information is correct? I'm going to say yes. And the user group is created. So once the user group is created, right? So let's go to the, so here inside the installation group. So I'm going to add the OpenAlgo to the sudo group. So OpenAlgo is now added to the sudo group. I'm going to log in as OpenAlgo now. So I'm going to switch to OpenAlgo user. And now I'm going to download the installation script, right? So this is the Docker installation script. It's a shell script. And I'm going to give permission to run the installation script. And once this is done, I'm going to run the shell script, right? So once the shell script is running, it is going to ask you like, what is your domain name? So I'm going to say like demo.openalgo.in, and then it's going to ask me for a broker name. So I'm going to keep it like Angel is what I'm going to say. However, in your case, the broker name could be a little bit different. It could be only from the valid broker list. So I'm going to type enter, and then it's going to ask for the API key. So if in case if your broker demands an redirect URL, you have to copy this redirect URL and you have to set the redirect URL, create the API key and API secret key. In case of Angel, it is not required at this point in time. So I'll go and get the API key and API secret key, and this should be as per the documentation of the broker integration setup, right? So I'll enter the API key over here, API secret as well. It is asking me to enter for SSL notification. Okay, I'll create some email ID. So I'm pointing to my email ID. And it's going to ask me like proceed with the installation. I'm going to type yes and then enter, and is asking for the password for OpenAlgo, which is the password which I had created. So I'll go and copy the password again, and then I'll paste it over here. So now the installation procedure is running. So this procedure will be running for at least I would say like 5 minutes, depends upon your server RAM and everything, right? So typically around 3 to 5 minutes is what you can anticipate. And once the complete installation is done, right? So you will be seeing that entire process will be working fine and your OpenAlgo is completely installed. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to know about here. So what this will be doing is like this will be updating all the system packages. It will install Docker and Docker Compose, and it installs the Nginx web server, right? And it also installs a certbot for SSL, HTTPS connectivity. It will installs over here. It places OpenAlgo inside the opt/OpenAlgo folder. This is where your OpenAlgo files will be located. And it configures the environmental variables, the .env variable automatically. It sets up the firewall, and we use UFW for the firewall. And if in case if you are using Amazon AWS or GCP or Azure or Oracle or any of the cloud server, ensure that you're also enabling the NAT firewall as well. So you have to have another external NAT firewall where you have to open up the port 80 and 443, right? And also 22 as well, right? So ensure that that will make your server accessible. You have to obtain the SSL certificate from Let's Encrypt. That's free anyways, and it also does the automatic renewal as well. So the script configures Nginx with SSL and WebSocket support. So builds and starts Docker container, creates and management helper scripts as well. So all these instructions are there, all these helper scripts, like how to understand the status of OpenAlgo, logs, restart, backup, everything you can understand from here. And bunch of Docker commands for you to start, restart, and check the logs, what the Docker is doing, right? So everything you can see over here, or if you want to rebuild everything from the scratch. And there are some procedures for updating OpenAlgo as well, right? And all right, so that these are the list of firewall configuration that you supposed to configure. If you are running the script, automatically it will be configuring. Whereas if you are using any external, any cloud providers like AWS, Azure or GCP or Oracle, then these things also need to be taken care, right? And let's see what is the status right now. I think it's asking for an OK. I have to give OK. I think this will be still installing the OpenAlgo setup. So I'm gonna wait for another 2 to 3 minutes and then I'm gonna come back. All right, I think now the installation is completely done. So what we are going to do is like we're going to go to the browser and then I'm going to type demo.openalgo.in and I'm going to log in. So I'll enter my credential for the first time. This is the OpenAlgo credential you have to create. This is a one-time setup. And once the one-time setup is done, right, you will be asking for an username and password. So I'm going to enter my password over here. I'll click on connect to the account, enter the broker credentials, and enter the TOTP. I'm going to enter the TOTP over here. And once the TOTP is done, so probably for the very first time, you're going to get this bad gateway error. Our team is working on that. So what you have to do is like you have to go and again try to re-log in. This is a one-time issue. Once this issue is over, so second time when you try to do the login happens normally, so this issue will not be repeated. So case has been raised, our team is working on that. So once the update is done, we will be communicating back to everyone. So I'll again do the process, and I'm going to enter the credential again. So does this error occurs every time? If you ask me, absolutely no. This is a one-time issue. First time the user, not every time. Sometimes they will face, sometimes they will not be facing. So once the installation is completed, you will be able to access the OpenAlgo, right? And the master contract, it should show that master contract symbol is done. And what status also you need to check here is like you have to go to the WebSocket and enter the test. So WebSocket/test, by default it shows connected, and it should show that it is getting the streaming codes. During the live market hours, you should be seeing that the live market data is getting downloaded. That means you are able to access the WebSocket data as well. And yes, from TradingView, you can go and get the webhook URL, right? So similarly, you can go and get the webhook URL for charting and the API key here. And if in case if you want to change the theme, you can change the themes. You can play with the sandbox mode and everything, right? And everything is now completely possible via Docker method. So I hope this helps. And if in case if you want to, if you feel like you might forgot your password, you can go to the profile section and you can configure the SMTP or a TOTP authentication, so to reset your own password whenever you think you forgot your password, right? All right, so let me pause here. We'll come back in yet another very interesting session. So I hope this helps you to configure your own OpenAlgo using the Docker method. Thank you. Bye-bye.